How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. So over on total, we have come to our resistance area like we have been warning about, and we have gotten a rejection. Tomorrow's candle is going to be important. If we manage to cross over and hold, then we could have continual bullish action to push us higher. However, if we reject this area and start to fold, then it is likely we will pull lower, and we would want to watch for a break of this support level right around here at that 33.1 level. Our stochastic is starting to roll, RSI is heading up, momentum is pushing higher, our VWAP is losing strength, kind of going flat though. Our money flow is trying to come up through that neutral, and the money flow can get bullish. That would be good for us as our VWAP is bullish, and that could help propel us forward. However, if we see our money flow get a bit of a accidentally hit the wrong key. If we see the money flow start to roll away here and the VWAP start to pull under, then it is likely we will get a leg down and see lower price action, and this could just act as some sort of a resistance area from up here and possibly form some sort of a flag. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are pushing up from the bottoming pattern that we did say we could have. RSI is heading up, stochastic's coming out, money flow is trying to push that neutral and go bullish, and our VWAP's kind of tapering off here under that neutral. So if our money flow doesn't cross through and our VWAP rolls over here, it is likely we'll reject this bullish pattern and we won't see it pull us higher. We've had that pattern kind of back here, that got us that trend up to where we are right now. However, if we get a red candle after this, that will not happen, and we'll see it act more like this, where we could get pushed down. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are trying to push toward our double bottom still, so we do still have this kind of possibility. We had this inverse head and shoulders that we talked about that did kind of push us up. So we would want to watch for continued green candles. If we don't get continued green candles from here, this could be about as high as we go, and we could just see this roll over here, and we could have the same thing, just a bigger bear flag. Stochastic is trying to head up, RSI wants to go up, our VWAP is heading up, and our momentum is pushing higher. Money flow is in a bit of an uptrend, but it's not a very strong uptrend, so I would watch the next few candles. Over on Bitcoin, we are pushing right to this zone in this higher volume node for our volume profile that we warned about around that 28K level. If we are able to break this 28K and push forward, we'll likely see our higher gaps fill. If you're unfamiliar with those gap zones, that's around this 33 to 36K, and we have that lower gap at this 20 to 21K. So if we continue to push like this, we could see a possibility for that 33K gap to fill. However, that leaves us open for that 20K gap to drop us lower, which would be a pretty brutal drop. But this could be like all the ETF hype gets us up to that 33K, and then people realize that we don't have as much money coming into the market as the market's kind of beat down right now, and we see a flush down as all the hope starts to fade. Our stochastic is starting to round away, RSI is trending up, momentum's pushing higher, and our VWAP is trying to push higher. Our money flow is also trying to trend higher, so if our money flow can cross bullish, that would be good for us, but like I said, we're going to need to get past the zone if we're going to continue bullish momentum forward. Real quick, if you haven't already, smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us in that Discord. But onto the 4 hour, our momentum is getting overall consistent highs, maybe slightly lower highs, so that's concerning as that's a bearish divergence. Stochastic has a bearish divergence, so that could work against us and bring us down. Our RSI is pushing pretty decent, but the stochastic wants to get a bit of a sell-off. Our VWAP did make a bounce off neutral, and it is in a bullish trend, and our money flow is in a bullish trend as well. However, if the lower time frames start to look weaker, we're likely going to roll over. We would likely come down, test the top of this pattern. If we break back through it, this will be a freak breakout. However, if we bounce off of it, then we may see continued price action up. However, sometimes crypto just likes to explode up and not make retests, so there is that possibility as well. Over on the 2 hour, we are pushing up pretty decently. We just have this God candle. Usually when you get God candles, they're retraced one way or the other. If it's a big candle up, it'll be followed by a big candle down. If it's a big candle down, usually it's followed by a big candle up. RSI is heading up, momentum's getting lower highs, even though price is continuing up, so we have a bit of a bearish divergence. Momentum's doing the same, it is crossing bullish and pushing higher though, so it could continue for a little while yet. Our VWAP is pushing in the bullish territory, and our money flow is getting pretty decent push forward, but it's kind of hanging up. So if the money flow doesn't cross above this 24 zone, and it just hangs, we could see it start to round away and push down if this VWAP starts to lose strength. So I would keep an eye on both these indicators. They are pretty much the main indicators of this indicator, if you have not gathered that already. Our RSI on the 1 hour is starting to head down. Stochastic is ramping up pretty decent, but it gained really quick, so it could be preceded by a fall down. Our VWAP is heading out. Money flows overall kind of sticking around this 23-24 zone. We are starting to round away, so we could see a flush down. Our momentum is in the bullish territory, but that's getting bearish divergences as well as our stochastic, so I would keep an eye on these. If this continues on the 1 hour and the 2 hour, we could see them start to push bearish and lose some steam. Over on graph for the daily, we are getting a bit of a push toward this wick, kind of filling that zone. Our stochastic's getting lower highs though, it is pushing up, RSI is pushing up, so we have bearish divergence on that stochastic. Our momentum is pushing forward, VWAP's pushing forward pretty decent, our money flow has crossed into the bullish territory, so we do look pretty decent. This reversal arrow did manage to push us forward and not down like I thought, so that is good for us. We do have a bit of a round here. If we come down, we could form a bit of a cup and a handle that could continue forward. But if we just sharply decline here, we could form a double top that could bring us lower. So watch out for that possibility. Over on the 4 hour, you can see where we have that double top a little bit clearer. This would be our run up, down, back up, and then down. So watch out for that. Our stochastic is starting to push lower, momentum's starting to push lower, but it does want to save itself as our VWAP's trying to bounce here. So if the VWAP can continue with strength, we'll likely see continued price action up. Our money flow is trying to cross bullish, so with both those things going to the bullish side, that could be a really decent push up, but that'll need to sustain on lower time frames. If we start to fail and roll over, this could end up just being one big rejection, which would cause that double top. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic wants to run up. It has a little bit of a bullish cross, but we're overall pushing lower even though price is pushing higher. RSI is pushing lower as price pushes higher, but we are making a bounce, and our momentum's doing the same, so all of those have bearish divergences. Money flow is ramping up, our VWAP is pushing forward, so those are going pretty decent and show signs that we could get continued push up. Over on the 1 hour, we are starting to get a red candle here, so that does want to bring us down. I would keep an eye on this. Our RSI is starting to sharply point out, stochastic's starting to round away, and our momentum and VWAP are starting to fall down. Our money flow is in a bit of a new high spot that it hasn't really been in for quite some time, so we could see a bit of a sell-off and a retraction from this area, so I'd watch the next candles closely. If we get a bounce off this support area and continue forward, that would be indicative that we could continue to see higher price action. However, if we hit some lower price targets and then do not make a bounce, we could ultimately fall to our pattern, retest that, and try to fall back into it. Over on Anchor for the daily, we're going to move this line, try and make it straight this time. So we are pushing out of our flag. This could be a freak breakout. We'll have to watch the next few candles to kind of evaluate that. Our stochastic is pushing higher, it's starting to bend though, and it's getting lower highs even though price is going higher. We do have a bit of an up channel, so we have some bearish things pushing against us. Our momentum is trying to continue forward, our VWAP's starting to roll away, and our money flow is in the bullish territory. So with the VWAP and money flow going bullish, that is good, but the VWAP does look like it could start to weaken here, so I would keep an eye on that. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to push forward out of this pattern. We'll have to watch for a retest and see if we get a confirmation of a breakout or not. Stochastic is coming down, momentum is coming down with a double red dot, but we are trying to get a green dot with our VWAP trying to cross very weak into the bullish territory to try and save us. So watch if that can happen. If we get a lower high here on our VWAP, we could start bearish trend that could end up pushing us lower. Money flow is trying to push higher, but we are meeting some resistance around this 14 zone. If we're not able to break through this zone and push toward this like 24 zone where we have met previous resistance, then this price action may not continue upwards. Over on the 2 hour, price is breaking our resistance. Our momentum's overall getting lower highs. Stochastic wants to make a bounce. Our RSI is bouncing. Our VWAP is pushing through the neutral, and our money flow is ramping up pretty decent. So if the money flow and VWAP can continue this trajectory, we could continue up, but just be wary of the bearish divergences that we are forming. Over on the 1 hour, you can see we are about to come back down for a retest, so I would pay close attention to that. If we break this support level, then we could continue down within our pattern. However, if we hit this and bounce, then we could continue forward. RSI is starting to come down, Stochastic's starting to round away. We have a red dot on our RSI that wants to bring us lower. Money flow's overall trending out, and our VWAP's starting to head down. So I would watch if the money flow falls bearish and the VWAP continues down and falls bearish as well. We're likely going to get a pretty decent sell-off to start. Over on XRP for the daily, we haven't really moved quite as much as the rest of the market, but we have a little bit of movement here. We are meeting resistance at previous tops like the rest of the market. We're kind of in the middle zone of this flag. Stochastic wants to push forward, but it's starting to roll away, so that does show that we could get a bit of a rejection here if we don't get strength. Our momentum is starting to roll away, our VWAP is starting to push down, so even though we're getting higher, our medium trend is coming out. Our money flow is trying to come up, so even though we overall have more selling pressure, we are trying to get some buying pressure here relative to the RSI. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to trend up, our RSI is trying to trend up. Money flow is trying to break bullish and push off that neutral after a retest. So if we get a higher high on our money flow, that would be indicative that we could continue forward and make another retest of this support resistance area. Our RSI wants to push forward, Stochastic wants to push forward, momentum wants to go up, as our VWAP is in the bullish territory, so we are looking pretty decent, but we will need the lower time frames to continue bullish momentum. Over on the 2 hour, this is a bit of a rounding bottom, kind of just like swooping up. Stochastic is heading up, money flow is trying to push forward, our money flow is meeting resistance around the 16-17 zone, so I would keep an eye on it here. If our money flow starts to come out and our VWAP rounds away here as well, we're likely going to see a trend down. However, if we break these zones, we could try to make that test to our resistance. Stochastic is pushing forward with a bullish cross, RSI is heading up, and our VWAP and momentum are continuing forward pretty decently. I would just watch where we are. Over on the 1 hour, we have that reversal arrow with a green dot that is bringing us down. Usually that's what I see happen when they come together. Right here you see that happen. We came down, got manipulation X that brought us even lower. We did bounce after that, but we could end up seeing us get drugged down lower. RSI is heading down, Stochastic wants to push forward, and our money flow is trending out, so I would keep a close eye on this money flow. If it breaks bearish, we'll likely see continued price action down. Our VWAP is making new highs, but we're starting to flatten and round away, so if the VWAP starts to break here, we could get a bit of a trend to the bearish side. Our stochastic and our momentum have bearish divergences here as well, just like most of the other markets, so I would keep an eye on that. If it starts to highlight, we could see it start to play out. Finally, for tonight, algo is pushing pretty decent, just like the rest of the market. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing up. It's kind of in between XRP and the rest of the market. Our momentum is going up, but we are making divergences here as well, so keep an eye on this just like the rest of the market. Money flow is trying to push forward, and our VWAP is starting to round off and taper, so I would keep an eye on it here. Over on the 4-hour, we are pushing forward, so we're kind of stair-stepping forward. That's the trend we're kind of going in. We did have an ascending channel that pushed down, but it didn't, or pushed sideways rather. That sideways action made a flag. It didn't push us down, and it managed to push us higher. So we could continue the stair-stepping, watch for it to chop sideways. If that sideways chops pushes forward, then we would see this just continue to bring us up. However, that could form a bit of an up channel. Even though we don't have a clean one, we are kind of in one, and those are bearish patterns that break you down. Our stochastic is coming out, momentum's starting to roll away, but it does have a green dot as our VWAP's trying to break bullish, so watch this VWAP. If we can manage to maintain this bullish action, we could continue forward. Our money flow is pushing forward as well, so with that and the VWAP being in the bullish territory, that is a positive sign for us. The stochastic does want to get a bit of a round, so I would watch for that as well. If that rounds, that could help give our RSI more strength, as our stochastic is falling to the bearish territory, so I would watch closely. Over on the 2-hour, we have a pretty big candle wick. This is a bit of an inverted hammer that could be forming, so I would keep an eye on this. Momentum's overall getting bearish divergences, RSI starting to roll away. Stochastic's trying to push up, but getting bearish divergences there as well. Our VWAP is pushing forward, but it could start to kind of taper off here as the rest of the market is showing signs of weakening, and you see this candle starting to kind of push lower. The bulls really aren't having much luck pushing us away from this range right now. Over on the 1-hour, you can see we have more of a bearish pattern, or a bearish candle here. So if we follow with another red candle, we could start to make a rounding top, which could bring us down. If you're not familiar with these patterns, smash that like, hit that subscribe, join our Discord, and we have some resources that you can use. Our RSI is starting to head down, stochastic starting to round away, and our VWAP starting to fall. Our money flow is overall getting lower highs. We did bounce off the neutral and bounce to the bullish side, but we are coming back for another retest, so I would pay attention to that. Momentum is starting to round away as our VWAP is weakening, so if that VWAP continues down with the money flow, we could get a leg to the downside, much like the rest of the market. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.